Hi, everybody. My name is Yunhao Yang, and you guys can call me Peter. So today we are going to do the introduction to Unity 3D. So first of all, I guess you guys already know what Unity is, right? So let's jump to today's topic. Before we start, I just want to say because I'm not a native English speaker, so I might have some weird accent. So if you guys don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to ask. So, and also if you guys don't have any question about what I'm talking about, also please feel free to ask. So let's jump to today's topic. So first of all, we're gonna create a Unity project today. The Unity version I'm using is 2021 1.17. The code we are going to say today is pretty general, and you should be working on any Unity version. So first, open your Unity Hub. In Unity Hub, is everybody open it? Your Unity Hub, you can see a new button on the top right corner. Just click it. Make sure you already have Unity version installed right now. On the top right button corner, just hit new, and you'll see a lot of templates here. So the template we are going to use today is gonna be 2D project. So just hit 2D here and choose your location and choose your project name, and hit create. But I already created a project for this, so for me, I just gonna open it. So I probably gonna keep going right now. So next thing I'm gonna introduce the layout in the Unity engine. So the thing we're going to introduce is first it's gonna be a theme. The theme here means everything in this thing in the Unity in the editor, like everything the sample thing in the editor. Right now we only have a main camera, so we can only see the main camera here. And there's some small option on the top of the thing. Like first is 2D. Like the thing we're gonna introduce first is this 2D. This is just a switch between 2D and 3D view. Like if I click 2D here, you're gonna switch to 3D view. But because this is a 2D project, so we're gonna keep in 2D right now. And this might switch light on and off. If you have a light in your thing and you click this one, you're gonna everything in the thing gonna turns blue. At least for my project it is. And this one is for audio and similar thing. And this one is for switching on and off some effect in the thing, like something like skybox, fog. But probably most of them are all for 3D projects. So not gonna talk a lot about it here. So next thing gonna be toggle on and off about invisible project, invisible stuff. Like for example, if I don't want to see the main camera in the editor here, I just do this. But if I want to reappear, I can do this or just cancel it. Same thing works as multiple things, but I'm gonna introduce later. On the top here, we can see three buttons. The first one is play, just play the game. Because we have nothing in the thing right now, so we can just, the only thing we can see is blue stuff, just blue background. And the second button is pause. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't quit. The second button is pause. Sorry guys, I gotta play again. So if we pause the game, we're gonna go back to the editor here. If we do some change to the in-game object, only gonna be temporary. Like after we stop playing the game, everything we change during the pause, we all jump back to it before we start the game. Like for example, we just delete the camera here, and we stop playing the game. The camera is gonna be back. And the next thing we're gonna introduce is the hierarchy here. Oh, actually, oh sorry, I forgot the third button. But the third button is actually process the frame. I mean, we're gonna introduce the third button later when we talk about scripts, because if we talk about it right now, we cannot really know. We don't really know what it actually does. So then I'm gonna talk about. Oh, I haven't introduced this thing yet. So first is the only thing I usually use is this one, and this one. This one is for like just switching the position of the game object. Like we can do this, or we can just use arrow to just switch to a specific direction. Sorry. And this one is for rotating. Just we can see 3 lines here. This one is for just. I mean, it's actually rotation through 3 different directions. And this one is for scale, but I don't think we can change scale for a camera. So I'm gonna create a game object here. So like we can just adjust this scale while using this. And the other one we're not gonna talk about it today because it's all about something we're gonna talk about in the later workshop. So then we're gonna talk about the hierarchy here. The hierarchy basically is everything we have in the current scene. Like we only have a main camera in the scene right now, but we can add some more. For example, we can add some. I already add a square, and we can already add some circle, capsule. The way we are adding, just right click and select the thing we want to add. And then we're gonna head to the inspector on the right. So inspector basically shows everything we have about this game object. First is the transform. Every game object will definitely come with a transform. So even if we create an empty one, I still have a transform here. The transform of a game object is basically recording its position, rotation, and scale. But for 2D object, we only need like the first. I mean, for 2D object, for position, we only need the first 2 x and y value. The z value actually doesn't work here. Where is it again? Okay, here. Like, if we suggest z, it actually doesn't work. Oh wait, do work. Okay. And also we can toggle like active and disactive, active and deactive. Like if we deactivate it, it's gonna just disappear. But the difference between like doing this and this is if we just make it invisible, we can still see it in the while we are playing the game. Yeah. Even if I make the circle invisible, we can still see a circle in the game. But if we deactivate it, then it's not there anymore. So after I mean, sprite render is just something makes it look like circle and other stuff, circle or capsule. So we're not gonna talk about a lot about it here. The next thing we're gonna jump to is project. The project over here is first it shows everything we have in the assets and packages. So the thing we use the most is the stats. And also we can see something on the favorites, like first all materials. If we click this, it's gonna search all the materials in the assets and packages folder. But since this is a 2D project, so we don't have any material here. The second one is models. Same as materials, like we don't have any models in neither in the sets nor in packages. So it's still gonna show empty stuff here. And the prefabs, we do have some prefabs in this project. So it will show all the prefabs you can find in all the folder here. So the next thing we're gonna introduce is like what is a prefab? Oh wait, let me introduce the console first. The console is basically like a little bit like if you're using a little bit like terminal. Something like if you're running C and C++ or Java, you're gonna print something in terminal. And similar as console is a little bit similar to a terminal. Like we'll print all the warning, error message, and also something you want to print on it. So then we're gonna talk about like talk about prefabs. So prefab is basically like, so I just gonna make an example. I'm gonna delete all of this first. So right now I want to create a square, and I want to make it a trap. So just rename it here. This is a trap. But I want to have multiple, and I'll just change some value of it. For example, I want to make it look like this. But I only want to change it once. I don't want to change it a lot of time, like every time I create a new trap and then change the X value of the scale and make it look like this. I don't want to do it. So the way we can do it is first in assets. My habit is like I create resources and put everything in resources. So we create a folder named resources, and we drag the game object into it. Then we create a prefab. Then if we want more like trap in the thing, we just drag the prefab in the thing and it will create it automatically. And also we can attach something to prefabs. Well, we're gonna do it later. So the next thing we're gonna do today is we already did create game object. We're gonna do thing later. I'm gonna talk about script first. So right now we want to make a manual thing. Yeah, we want to make a manual thing. And let's just delete everything here. And we save the thing first because I already did some change. So we need to create a new thing. And remove the old thing. So the way we can create a main menu is first we're gonna add a canvas here, because everything in the menu, everything on the UI should always be in the canvas. Then we click the canvas and press F to actually see the whole canvas. Then we add a right click the canvas, and in UI we add a text. There's a text match pro version here, but the thing we're gonna use is text. And then put it a little bit up here, and then we can use in the scale mode. We can try to adjust the scale, like makes it bigger. And in the inspector here, in the text component, we can modify the text content here. Right now it's new text, but we're gonna change it to main menu. Also in the text component here, we can adjust the alignments, and it makes it always in the middle and makes it bigger. Also in the game view, we can directly see what we have in the scene right now. So we can also change the color of it. Right now it's a little bit too dark, and even in the game view, we cannot see it really clearly. Like it's not really highlighted. So in the text component, go down to color. We can see we can just make it white or make it any color you like. Or red or anything, any color you like. So then we have a title in the main menu. So then we want to switch from the main menu to the game scene. So right click the canvas again, and in UI we can add a button. And see in the button we can see it has a child here. Oh, I forgot to talk about child. Like we can put everything as a child of another in the hierarchy here. For example, I just create an empty project. I want to make it a child of a main camera. We just drag it here. Drag it inside main camera. Then it's the child of main camera. And when we delete the main camera, it will also delete the child of main camera. So we delete the game object, it will also delete all the child of the game object. So we can see the child here is a text. So the text is something we have in the button. So in text, we just change it to like something like start game or start or anything you like. But right now, if we click start, it doesn't do anything because we haven't given it an onClick, like we haven't give it an onClick function right now. If we click it, it doesn't do anything. So if we want to actually switch scene, so we're gonna save this scene. We're gonna save in the scenes folder. We just call it like main menu. And then we hit File and go to Build Settings. We drag our main menu onto in the things in build. Just make sure to specify that this thing gonna be used in the build. We can see the index here. The sample thing is the thing we have in the first place is 0, and the main menu thing is 1. The scene index is actually what we are going to use while we are switching scenes. So then we're going to start our first script. So what I'm going to do is like I create a folder called scripts. In scripts folder, we can we can just create something here, or we can just go to button, or we can just go to button and add component here and just call it like UI control. There's no component called UI control, but we can see a new script here. We can just create an add, then it automatically add a script called UI control in this folder. Or we can just create in the folder, but just introduce two ways to create a script in Unity. So after we create it, we just wait, what? Oh, okay, it's actually create a script in the stats folder, but we can drag in the script folder. Then we can wait. We can just double click it to start modify the script. So before we start introducing how actually make a script to switch the thing, like I'm gonna tell you guys how to make add a Unity helper function to Visual Studio. So first you can open Visual Studio installer. And just use the Visual Studio version you're using right now and click modify. In the workloads here, you can see the game development with Unity. Just check this, and it's gonna become modified down here. Then we're gonna start installation, but we're not going to do it here because it takes a lot of time. If you install your game development with Unity, and then you can just go to Unity, like edit preferences, and in the external tool, make sure you set external script editor with the Visual Studio version you are using, and hit regenerate project files. And you can use Unity 3D's helper function in Visual Studios. In the script, there are going to be four functions that I'm going to introduce right now, like in this workshop. So it's gonna be actually 5. It's gonna be start, update, awake, fix update, and late updates. So we can see two here. First one is start. Start will be called before the first frame updates. So it means like while our game is starting, if we create all the script we attach in the game object gonna run start first. And update is called once per frame. Like it means like the update gonna keep calling. Like if like your computer can run 200 frame rates per second, the update gonna be called 200 times in a second. The other three functions are going to be awake, like awake, start, and fix update and late updates. So the awake update gonna be called before start. So why we are doing awake here? So for example, if we have two scripts, script A and script B, if we want script B to use something like to use something initiating the script A, then we're gonna put, for example, we have a integer in script A, and the integer is initiating in starts. So we want to script B to use an integer. Then we're gonna initiate integer in awake in script A, and then we can use an integer in the starting script B. But you guys may ask, like, what if we have two scripts and both of them like have something in start, but I want script B always be executed after script A. So the way you can do it, like, first I'm gonna create two more scripts here. So if I want to script B to, like, script B always be executed before script A, like, so what we can do is like go to editor, project settings, and you can see a script execution order here. We can just add script A and script B here. Now if we want to script A to execute it first, we can just put script A on the top. And we want to script B to be executed first, we can just put script B on the top. Oh wait, I mean always remember to hit apply. I didn't apply it, so it didn't save. Like, make sure you hit apply after modify it. So then it's gonna be fixed update and late update. The late update is always called. So I think the reason we have late update here is pretty obvious. Do you have any question? Oh, sorry. So I think the late update is working similar as a wake. I mean, the reason why late update is here is working similar as a wake. So then we have a fixed update. Unlike the update, which is called in every frame, the late update is, I mean, the fixed update is called like after a certain period of time. Like, no matter how lag your computer is, the fixed update will always be calling a certain amount of time. So can you guys tell me why we need a fixed update here? So, for example, I mean, I gotta make an example here to make sure you guys can better understand it. For example, I want to shoot a rocket to a project. I mean, to an object. But if we assume this rocket can travel like 0.1 meters in every frame, and the object is like 10 meters away. So if a computer can run like, I mean, so for this, we always require 100 frames to let the rocket hit the object. So if a computer if there are two computers, computer one can run like 200 FPS, then the rocket can hit the object like less than a second. But if the computer is really laggy, it only have about maybe 60 frames per second, then this rocket gonna hit the object at about like 1/6 second, I guess. Like, because I think, wait, require 100 frames. Yeah, I mean, it will hit the object like more than 1 second. So I'll give a much better like example here. How many of you guys have heard like Fallout 76? I mean, in Fallout 76 beta test, people find they can run faster if the computer have a better frame rate. That's a really bad performance. So make sure if you guys want to do something continuously, make sure you put in the fixed updates. Do not put in updates. So then we are finished here, and here's like what I actually just discussed just now. And we're gonna start coding our first script here. So if we want to switch scene, we should like first we need to using Unity Engine. We need using scene management. And we don't need start and update here because we don't want this function to be called before the first frame or in every frame. Oh, I gotta discuss about. I mean, let me finish this, and then I will tell you guys what does this button work. So let's first create a new public function because load thing. And it will take an integer. Oh, hi. Oh, use what? Zoom in? Oh, sure. Sorry. Sorry about that. So in this one, we only need one line of code. Like we do scene manager. Oops. Dot load scene with our index, and then we save it. So after we finish it, just go back to the Unity engine. Go back to our project here. Unity is gonna need some time to compile it every time we save our script. Then we hit our button. We can see an on-click here. First, we need to we already attached the script on this game object. If we don't, we just drag our script here and then we can attach it again. Like if I remove it, then I drag it again, so we can attach it. And in the on-click here, we hit the plus button, and then we drag the UI control into this non-object here, and then we can find our script over here, and we can find a method we just created in here. Make sure the index is always like. Make sure if you want to attach your function in the on-click of a button, make sure you only take one parameter. If you take more than one parameter, it's not gonna work here. So because we want to switch to 0, so because we can check again, like the main menu is 1 and the start, we want to switch to 0. So we just leave a 0 here. Then let's see what happens after we run. So if we hit start, then we hit start game again. Then we just head to our sample scene right now. And I gotta tell you what does this button works. This button is like a progressive frame. So I just modify something in the script A right now. So if we the debug break here just pause the game by script. Then debug.log here, it means like we print something in the terminal. Like we print updates. I mean, you guys don't have to copy this one. I mean, this one is just a showcase. Then we attach this to our camera. And we switch to our console here. So the game is paused because I use a debug.break here. But if we hit this button again, it will process one frame. So it means like we'll only do everything we'll only like process one frame. Like we do something here in one frame, and then we're gonna do it here. Like we print a message called update in here, and then we process one frame and then pause again. Like even if I remove the debug.break here, it's still gonna pause. this button is really useful while you're debugging because sometimes you just want to know like what's going to happen in this frame. Just check your parameters or something like that. Like let's do it again. Like so right now it doesn't pause because I removed the debug.break, and then you hit this button again. It still pause because this button, what this button do is like process one frame and then pause immediately. So do you guys have any questions? Good. So you're not going to do anything about this script anymore. So we can just go to the wait. Let me remove this before we switch theme because putting a lot of like updates is very annoying. So let's put on our sample thing again and remove the first thing because there always have to be one thing acting in hierarchy. So the only thing we can do to switch thing, like we just put up the thing and remove the last thing. Let's click the main camera and press F again to actually find where the main camera is. So right now, what we're gonna do is create a character controller. First, we create a capsule as our character. I mean, we don't have any character texture right now, so the only thing we can do with the texture is just use a capsule as a character because it's more like a human, you know. We just rename it as like character. Then on this one, let's create another script called character controller. Then we get into it. So right now I'm gonna introduce something about how to detect your keyboard input. Like, there's three different. You would prefer using get key. There are three different kind of get key. Like first is just. Second one is get key down. Third one is get key up. So the difference between these three is get key return true while we are holding the key. Like if we, for example, if we hold the key down, it will keep returning true. Oops. And the get key down is like it returns true while the key is pushed down. So only the moment when we push down the key, it returns true. And it's not return true anymore if we hold the key. And get key up is somewhat opposite of get key down. Like if when the key is released, it returns true. So like when we push it down and then release it, it returns the true. So let's start coding. So first we need to make our WASD like to achieve the character control. First let's start with the global public variable here. We call it speed. Because it's a public here, so if we I'll go back to that later. So if we attach it to the gamma object here, we can see the public variable is actually shows here. So if we remove it, it's not here anymore. So, but what if we want to mix a private variable, but we still want it to be show zero? What we can do is like we'll put a serialized field here. So even though this one is private here, but we can still see it over here. So we still don't need start here, and so first we need to make our W to make our character goes up. So we do if input dot get key, because we want to make sure if we hold W, the character gonna keep going up, not we hold it, not we keep crashing it and it keep going up. Like, so we gonna use get key here, and then key code dot W. Then we can just type transform to access the transform here. So the thing you guys need to know is if we attach the script to a gamma object, we can directly use transform, or in the script we can directly use transform or gamma object to directly get the transform or gamma object of the gamma object. So the gamma object and transform can access to each other. So we can use gamma object to access transform. We can also use transform to access gamma objects. So we need to modify our transform position to add it with a new vector. As I say, we still use vector 3 here, but the z value of the vector 3 is actually we won't use it in the 2D. We won't use the z value of vector 3 in the 2D gamma object. So we want to get up. So we're gonna do is this over here. Wait. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let me just copy and paste it 4 times and just briefly modify it. Oops. So this one gonna be down, so it's D, and gonna be minus. So this one is going left, and so it's gonna be A. So it's gonna be minus here, and change the first value to speed. And same thing here, but we'll keep oops. To oh wait, this one should be D, so this one should be S. So let's see what happened here. And let's set the speed to like 2. Let's set the speed to 2. So we can see our character is moving, but it's moving really unnatural. Like you can see it's moving too fast. Just one way you can do it is like we can just put a decimal here, maybe 0.1 or something. But I don't like to do that. The more usual way is like we times the speed to a time delta time. Oh wait, cannot modify. Just time error speed with time delta time. Then if we go back to here and we set our speed to 20. It still work a little bit not unnatural, but you can see if we put a large number here, it's moving much slower right now. So I'll leave some time for you guys to copy the code here. So right now we already have a character controller, and then what if we try to deploy a trap while we are hitting space? So what we can do is like we can do this in two ways. First, we create a pub here and do game object. Just this trap. And then we go back to this thing. We can still have a trap tab here. Then in our resources, we drag the trap into this place. Wait, then we modify it. The trap is too long right now. So in our code, we just do like, for this one we need to do get key down, because we don't want to, if we hold the space bar, we're gonna infinitely deploying trap. Now do key code space. And in this one, we're gonna use instantiate function. Instantiate function is like we actually put something in the game. We actually put something in the scene. We're gonna put a trap. The second part, it can be like the place we are deploying the trap. So we're gonna deploy in the same position as our game project, as our character. The third one is gonna be a rotation. We don't want the trap have any rotation right now, so we just do quaternion identity. Then let's see what happened back to the game. I'll get back to this thing after I finish showcase. So if we hit a spacebar right now, you can see a trap in the scene. So I'll leave it here for you guys to copy it. Okay, so I show you the first way how to instantiate a game project, instantiate a trap. I'll show you the second way right now. I mean, this is the way I usually use. Like, first time comment this and so we don't need the public game object here. What we can do is like we do game object trap. Oh, we don't need to, is equal to resources the load just to trap, because I put a trap in the resources, so I can directly load it from here or from there. And because everything loaded from resources are all do not have a type, so we just load it as a game object, and then we instantiate it again. So it's working exactly the same way, but in this way we don't have to make it part of your serialized field and drag something and drag the game object over there. So we can directly load it from the resources. But just make sure this way only works when you put the game object into the resources. If you don't put in the resources folder, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna do the last thing, probably the last few thing right now. So I'm gonna let the trap destroy itself in 5 seconds. So first we're gonna create a new script called, you just name it trap. So in the trap script, the only thing we need is the start function. We're gonna put a destroy game object and phi. So it means that it destroy the game object. You destroy the game object this script attached to. After 5 seconds, after 5 seconds the start is running. It's called. There's one thing you guys need to notify is in C#. If you do, like for example, you have a function like in C#, you have a flow. If you have a function that requires a float parameter, if you do this, it's completely fine because it's an integer. But if you do this, then you're gonna report an error because the system will consider this as a double value. So you need to put an F after this to specify the float value. So right now we do this, and we just attach the script to the trap. Just one way you can attach it to change the prefab is you just click the prefab, and you can see on the right side you just drag on it. Or there's another way is that you drag the prefab in the scene, and you can see a little right arrow here. Just click, and then you can see all the prefab information, also its child, if it has any child. So just drag the destroy to this prefab, and then we see like what we're gonna do. So create a trap here. Disappear after 5 seconds. Then that's it. So the last thing I'm gonna do is how to make the camera move with the character. The only thing we do is like just drag the camera into the character to make it a child of the character. make sure camera is stay at the 0, 0. Like camera position stay at 0, 0, 0, and then we can see the the cavity is always at the center of the camera. That's all today's workshop.